Hi, I'm Vicki Grant, Volunteer Chair of Funny Pages 2025. Your live streaming session is going to begin very soon, but before it does, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors who were so helpful in bringing some of Canada's funniest authors here to the Halifax Central Library to entertain students throughout Nova Scotia. So a big thanks goes out to RBC, Stuart McKelvey, Penguin Random House, the Government of Nova Scotia, the Government of Halifax Regional Municipality, Woozles, Writers Federation of Nova Scotia, and Gallagher Insurance. Enjoy Funny Pages, and we hope to see you again next year. Hi, I'm Vicki Grant, Volunteer Chair of Funny Pages 2025. Your live streaming session is going to begin very soon, but before it does, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors who were so helpful in bringing some of Canada's funniest authors here to the Halifax Central Library to entertain students throughout Nova Scotia. So a big thanks goes out to RBC, Stuart McKelvey, Penguin Random House, the Government of Nova Scotia, the Government of Halifax Regional Municipality, Woozles, Writers Federation of Nova Scotia, and Gallagher Insurance. Enjoy Funny Pages, and we hope to see you again next year. Hi, I'm Vicki Grant, Volunteer Chair of Funny Pages 2025. Your live streaming session is going to begin very soon, but before it does, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors who were so helpful in bringing some of Canada's funniest authors here to the Halifax Central Library to entertain students throughout Nova Scotia. So a big thanks goes out to RBC, Stuart McKelvey, Penguin Random House, the Government of Nova Scotia, the Government of Halifax Regional Municipality, Woozles, Writers Federation of Nova Scotia, and Gallagher Insurance. Enjoy Funny Pages, and we hope to see you again next year. Hi, I'm Vicki Grant, Volunteer Chair of Funny Pages 2025. Your live streaming session is going to begin very soon, but before it does, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors who were so helpful in bringing some of Canada's funniest authors here to the Halifax Central Library to entertain students throughout Nova Scotia. So a big thanks goes out to RBC, Stuart McKelvey, Penguin Random House, the Government of Nova Scotia, the Government of Halifax Regional Municipality, Woozles, Writers Federation of Nova Scotia, and Gallagher Insurance. Enjoy Funny Pages, and we hope to see you again next year.
When it's time to have a bath, so he's acting like a dog here because he doesn't want to get a bath. But then after the bath, he puts on a towel over his head and a bathrobe because he's acting like a human. Here he is acting like a human, and then he barks because he's still a dog. Here he is acting like a dog, and then he needs to get psychiatric help because he's traded his dignity for a piece of cheese. Now, I don't want to undermine the value of a funny drawing, but you can't just get by on just having characters getting hit with pies and bricks. You gotta set it up. It's more funny that way. So I'll give you an example of how you set up a joke so that the funny drawing is more of a payoff. Here's walking along, mind his own business. Bam, slips on a banana peel. Sweet biscuits, that actually happened? How pathetic is it to slip on a banana peel? I hope nobody saw that. Are you all right? You came down hard. Yeah, I'm okay. More my pride than anything. That looked painful. I didn't actually think anyone slipped on banana peels. Thanks for not laughing. I'd like to think we're all above finding amusement in such base physical comedy. Laughing at the misfortune of others demeans us all. I agree, it's adolescent. Well, good day to you then. See ya. Whap. So that's an example of like it's funnier because I set it up. It's always funnier to laugh at others is a famous quote from a comedian that's tragedy is when I cut my finger. Comedy is when you step into an open manhole and die. It's funnier if it's somebody else. So for years I did my drawings on regular paper, but a few years ago I switched to doing on the iPad. This is just a little bit about process for those interested. I work on an iPad in a program called Procreate, and this is just like the steps of creating the drawings. So I sketch it out. I write it first so that I know where, what's going to happen in each panel. And I leave enough space for word balloons, which is important because you don't want to have to redraw. That's boring. So you sketch it out, and then you add the inks, backgrounds, fill in the blacks, add the word balloons, grays, and color. And then there you have a finished strip. I'm going to take a drink of water, but does anybody have any questions about the newspaper comic business entirely? I have more questions at the end, but while I take a drink of water, if somebody wants to ask a question, that would be fine. Do you want to do that now, or should I just?
If you do have a question, just raise your hand and I'll come to you with the microphone. Okay.
That's fine if you don't. Oh, there's one.
Got to take a drink of water first so he sounds good.
Why is he flying in the sky?
Can I repeat the question? Why is the fly in the sky? Oh, this guy here? Yeah, okay. Great question. I'll talk about that now. Yeah? Okay. All right. So I was minding my own business, doing my comic strip for many years, and then one day my daughter, who was 5 at the time, came running into my office saying, "I'm Pluto Rocket, I'm Pluto Rocket." And she was pretending she had superpowers, because like her daddy, she likes superheroes. And I thought, that's a great name. So then I went to the internet to make sure that she didn't just like steal it off Paw Patrol or something, and it was clean. So I decided I was gonna come up with a character named Pluto Rocket. And that's this character here. And so I thought she was gonna be like an alien from Pluto, and she should be rocket-shaped, and I thought I'd give her antennas. So this is just a little bit of behind the scenes in the design process. I was coming up with a bunch of different ideas for what she would look like. I even thought about her maybe being a rabbit, because she had the big ears. And then I had to come up with the face. Here's a bunch of failed attempts. And then there's this version, which looks kind of scary, actually. I don't really like that one. That one's extra freaky. Hideous. It's true. My agent was like, nope, that's not going to be good for kids. So I kept working at it, and here's narrowing in pretty close to what we finally came up with. And then, ta-da, that's the final version. So I thought she'd come to Earth on a secret mission. And because the mission's secret, I wanted to give her an obstacle. thing is, like when you're coming up with characters, you want to give them a goal and then put obstacles in front of that goal. And then you have some tension and some comedy. So she comes to Earth on a secret mission, so she wants to keep a low profile. So the first person she meets is Joe Pidge. Guess if he's low profile or not. He's not. He's loud and brash, and his main motivation is to stand out and be very big and noticeable. So I'm going to read you a little bit from book 2, just to kind of show you about how I put that into practice. Hang on a sec. Okay, I'm going to start here. So Joe Pidge, his whole thing is about standing out from pigeons, which is really hard because all pigeons kind of look the same. So his big thing is he wears this hat. His hat is what makes him stand out. It's his super Flavio look, and for him, it's everything. So guess what happens to his hat? You're all cartoonists. He's going to lose his hat. So, I mean, if a character loses their hat, you're like, well, what's the big deal? He loses his hat. But if you set it up so that that thing is the most important thing in the world to that character, then the hat matters to the reader. So, here's Joe Pidge. You're with the ultra-unique, one and only Joe Pidge. I am most lucky I found you. What can I say? Super outstanding folks like me don't grow on trees. Grow on trees? It's an expression. I invented it. I knew inhabitants of this world would be nice. I cannot wait to meet more of them. You want to meet more of them? That would be super beneficial to my mission. Well, don't expect to meet anyone as unique as me. I would not expect that, Joe. Take a look at this guy. Pretty amazing, am I right? Affirmative. Now look at the rest of these pigeons. All the same. Boring. Huge yawn. Remember what I told you about being outstanding, Pluto Rocket? That is the most important thing? You got it. I'm the rainbow in a cloudy sky. I'm the chocolate cake in a salad bar. I'm special. I'm one and only. I mean, come on. You can tell just by looking at me. Boop. My hat. My hat. My hat. I lost my hat. Do not worry, Joe Pidge. You still look one and only without your hat. I don't look one and only. I look boring. That hat was my super Flavio look. Now I'm just like everybody else. Look. I've got to get a new look quick. Standing by. How's this? Ow. What about this? I did not realize uniqueness was so connected to head covers, Joe. Do you have any idea how hard it is to stand out from other pigeons? Every pigeon likes roosting. Every pigeon bobs when they walk. This wheel of death. Every pigeon's favorite food is birdseed. They all seem happy just being themselves. Wait, use your powers to reformulate my hat. I am unable. I can only formulate things currently in my field of vision. We seem to have a pattern here. Okay, I'm going to move it along. It's no use, Pluto Rocket. I give up. I am not unique. Okay, well, I'll just keep talking while I guess the flow here is being messed up. So the idea is that you give a character their motivation, and then you put obstacles up in front of that motivation. But more importantly, the character should actually have something that they need on top of what they want. So in this case, Joe Pidge thinks he needs to have a hat in order to be unique. Sorry, that's what he wants. That's his goal. But what he needs is to understand that he doesn't need the hat. So what's happening right here, I'm not going to read all because it keeps like flaking out, but he's learning, Pluto Rocket's like talking to other pigeons and finding out that they're all unique as well in their own ways. Do you bob when you walk? No, I much prefer to skateboard. Oh, you mean we aren't all exactly the same? I collect bottle caps. I take bongo lessons. I can touch my eye with my tongue. I'm president of the Guacamole of the Month Club. I'm building a Frankenstein pigeon in my basement. I never realized you were all so different. It seems one and onlyness does not come from how you look, Joe Pidge, but from what you have on the inside. So that's kind of like the goal of like a good motivation is like, you know, like you might want to like the good guy might want to beat the bad guy, but what he really needs is to say develop an understanding that he needs to get help from others in order to accomplish his goals. So again, this is some behind the scenes. How it works is I do the writing first. You don't have to do the writing first. Sometimes you can just make it up as you go along, and that's really fun. But if you do the writing first, you can kind of leave room for word balloons. And if you have a really chatty character like Joe Pidge, you're going to need a lot of room for word balloons. So here's like the sketchy background. Then you tighten it up. Put the inks on. And then the colors. Background colors. Borders. And then the next thing you would see would be the word balloons. Yeah, oh, there they are. A little faster now. Then you add the type, and you've got finished Pluto Rocket pages. Does anybody have any questions about this? I got one more section, but I'm happy to answer some questions if people like.
What drawing tools do you use?
Oh, thanks for that question. It's a great question. So I work on an iPad, and it's a program called Procreate. And on that, you can do pretty much anything. It can look like pencil, it can look like inks, and you can put colors and all sorts of patterns. You can paint on it and everything. So if any of you are lucky enough to have access to that, I highly recommend it. However, I spent 30 years prior to that just drawing with on paper with pencils and inks and paints. So I've used it all. Does anyone else have another question? I see someone's over here.
Tell me who? Right here?
What? There's one there and there's one there, so they can both.
Do you have to pay for the app, like the app?
Yeah, but it's relatively inexpensive. I think it's like $100, so it's a one-time fee.
What was your favorite comic when you were little?
That's another great question. I think Charlie Brown was my favorite when I was really little, and then when I got older, it was Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin and Hobbes is like the gold standard. Do you guys know Calvin and Hobbes? Yeah. It's like the best combination of writing and drawing together that everyone understands that that's the best. What about you? What's your favorite comic?
I like Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, nice. You're my target audience. There's a boy over here that had his hand up for a while.
Tell me where?
Oh, there's a boy in the white up on the...
Do you want to?
What type of alien is Pluto Rocket?
Yeah, that's another great question. Really, it's well, she's from Pluto, and she's snuck off on this secret mission. Honestly, she has a lot of the characteristics of my daughter because she was the inspiration for that, and so much so that like I told my daughter that, and then my daughter's like, "Well, how come my name's not with yours on the cover of the book?" And I was like, "Well, Daddy did a little more work on it from that day that you were in my office." But I'm thinking about in book. I've done 4 books now, and in the 4th book, they head back towards Pluto. So I think we're going to learn a lot more about who she really is in book 5 when they return to Pluto, and we see her family. Thanks for the question. 5 minutes? Okay. I'll just tell you that I have more to talk about in my next book. It's a graphic memoir. And I don't know if anyone knows what that means, but it's that just means that it's based on, it's semi-autobiographical. You use your own life as part of the material. So I never had anything interesting happen to me in my life, so I didn't really have much to draw from. I made a joke to my agent that the only traumatizing thing that ever went down in my life is that my dad took me to see Jaws when I was 10 years old. And he's like, "That's an interesting story. You should write about that." So I don't know if any of you know the movie Jaws. It's about a shark ripping people to shreds. Very scary. I should not have been seeing it at that age, although I've heard a lot from a lot of 10-year-olds that they saw it more recently and found it to be not that scary. So maybe it's just of its time. But it scared the bejesus out of me. And so here's a few panels from it. This is me as a character. Now, you don't have to do everything exactly from truth when you're doing an autobiographical comic. You can just draw from that and then, augment it to make it more story-friendly. So here I am playing baseball, and all I had to worry about was, getting tennis balls off roofs and not understanding car engines. And then Jaws comes out, and it changes my life, not for a good thing, not in a good way. But the story becomes about toxic masculinity in a way, where it's about me feeling like I had to go and see this movie even though I didn't want to. So when I first decided that I was going to go see it, I thought, "Oh, look how brave I'm being." And I'm running around being all excited about going to see it. And then when I finally get to the theater, I'm thinking like, well, how bad could it be? Turns out it was pretty bad. I spent the entire movie hiding under my dad's arm. And in the book, instead of showing all the actual gore that happened, I changed the humans to balloon animals. It's kind of funny if you can see it. Whoosh, whoosh. So it left me, instead of proving my bravery, it kind of left me a cowering mess. See, here you go. So there are scenes from the movie, but I turned them all into balloon animals. And so then afterwards, I saw sharks everywhere. I was like seeing images of sharks in water and in shadows, and even in water fountains. I know. So that didn't really happen, but it's a truth based on the character, right? I was so scared of water that I kind of went one step farther in the book because it's funny that way. So it's more important, like I'm saying, you don't have to do everything exactly. If you're ever going to do something autobiographical, don't not put something in the book or your art because it didn't really happen. Just, you get the idea of it, and that's more important. And just going back to what I was talking about before, like for motivations. So my motivation was to try and be more manly by going to see this movie. But what I really needed was to learn that I should just be myself. I shouldn't, the character of me. that's the thing is, again, when you do an autobiographical thing, like this is a character named Paul, so he's a character, even though it's me, it's still a character. I can like give him motivations and give him obstacles and add comedy. Oh, 5 minutes later, there's the drawing of the shark in the water fountain. And yeah, so that's the autobiographical comic. I think are we out of time? Okay, so let's have some more questions then.
I think you were waiting a long time there.
Who inspires you?
That question was too short. I didn't have time to drink my water. Who inspires me? Honestly, I know this is going to sound corny, but it's my family. My family's. I think that's not what you were looking for. You were probably looking for me to say the guy who does Calvin and Hobbes, or the guy who does Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But it's really the support of my family. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Couple more questions, Paul. You tell me where to go.
Oh, I don't know. There's some over here.
Okay.
When did you start making books?
I only started making books about 5 years ago. But I always did drawing since I was like younger than you. I read Mad Magazine. Does anybody know Mad Magazine? Yeah? All right, some fans. I read that in about grade 2 or 3, and from that point on, I was hooked. I started drawing comics nonstop from that point on.
Okay, one more question, Paul.
Okay.
There are a lot, so.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, there's one here. Oh, I think he asked one already.
How long did it take you to make one book?
Oh, now, that is an unanswerable question because it's spread out into different sections, and sometimes you have to work on lots of ideas before you get something right. And honestly, it takes probably if you put it all together, it would take like a year. It's a lot of work. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
I'm sorry we don't have more time for all of the questions out there.
I'm Deb Fraser, and welcome to your second session of the 2025 Funny Pages Festival. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce your author for this session, Leslie Gentile. Leslie always wanted to be a writer and a musician. Her family encouraged her, and I'm really glad they did because I heard her first session and she's awesome. Leslie's debut novel, which I'm presently reading, is Elvis, Me, and the Lemonade Stand Summer. It won the 2021 Victoria Children's Book Prize and the Jean Little First Novel Award for 2022. Her books have been nominated for 15 awards, including the 2025 Washington State Library Award, which is this year, must have been just recently. Leslie is also a singer and songwriter and has written songs to accompany her readings. This really makes for a fun and dynamic presentation, as I can attest, because I heard some of the songs in the last session. Leslie is having fun dabbling presently in podcast stories. She has just completed, or is creating, I think, in the process of creating, yes, the Agatha Christie Detective Agency series. This is found on all streaming platforms, so you might want to look for that. Leslie loves fish and chips, beading, camping, splashing around on beaches, and hanging out with her husband and her dog, who is German Shepherd, and I believe the reading today is about a dog, so she's a dog lover, as I am. Though not connected to any specific nation, Leslie is of Indigenous and settler heritage. She has Salish, Tuscarora, and a Scottish ancestry. She lives on the traditional territory of the Housanic people with her husband and her German Shepherd, as mentioned. I'd like you to give a warm welcome for Leslie.
Thank you so much. I am really thrilled to be here. I do love splashing around on beaches, but I do that at the Pacific Ocean because I'm from British Columbia and I flew in from Vancouver Island with my sister yesterday. So we're very, very excited to be here in Halifax and see the Atlantic Ocean. So my book that I'm going to read from today is called Seamus the Urban Res Dog, PI. PI is short for Private Investigator. This story is told by the dog, and he helps his kids solve a mystery. First off, does anyone here know what a res dog is? Yes. They can be rescue dogs. Res dogs live on a res, or a reserve, an Indigenous community. And res is slang for reserve, yes. Pardon me? Yeah, they're used for hunting. But in a lot of Indigenous communities, the dogs get to roam around and hang out with their doggy friends, and everybody keeps an eye on them. And so this res dog has moved to the city, and he's having a little trouble following all the rules in the townhouse complex, so he gets in trouble lots. So he lives with his Indigenous family, which is mom and 12-year-old twins, Rainey and Cole. And I'm going to start off with a song called It's a Dog's Life, which tells you Seamus's kind of philosophy on life. And I would like to thank the library, the Halifax Library, for lending me these guitars, so I didn't have to fly with instruments. I'm very grateful for that. Well, it's a dog's life, that's a life for me. It's a dog's life, most assuredly. It's a dog's life, and confidentially, that's a life for me. Well, playing fetch and chasing sticks, get treats whenever you sit. It's a life that's hard to resist, and even a cat would have to admit that it's a dog's life, that's a life for me. It's a dog's life, most assuredly. It's a dog's life, and confidentially, that's a life for me. Well, you spent your days blazing in a sunbeam, dreaming of your next meal. This is one contented pup you see, happy-go-lucky, that's me. 'Cause it's a dog's life, that's a life for me. It's a dog's life, most assuredly. It's a dog's life, and confidentially, that's a life for me. Well, this is a life I highly recommend. Being man's best friend, a double dog dare you. Should you care to try to refute that I am one lucky pooch? 'Cause it's a dog's life, that's a life for me. It's a dog's life, most assuredly. It's a dog's life, and confidentially, life for me. Oh, that's a life for me. Well, thank you. One of Seamus's very favorite things to do is chase the cat. There's a cat named Mr. Tibbles who lives in the townhouse complex, and Seamus doesn't understand why Mr. Tibbles gets to walk around loose and Seamus doesn't, and why it's such a terrible thing to chase a cat when it's so much darn fun. So this reading is going to describe as fun cat chasing, and it's also going to talk about Seamus's philosophy of life on racism, and it's something Seamus and I share. I blame the cat. Okay, sure, a well-behaved dog should stay in his yard, even if he does know how to open the gate. But there I was, snoozing under the lilac bush when good old Mr. Tibbles sauntered right by me along the top of the sagging picket fence and smirked. So, what's a self-respecting mutt to do? Well, give chase, of course. And I gotta say, it was awesome. You should have seen the look of panic on that tabby's face when he saw me coming at him. He took off like a pack of wolves was after him. Well, like a big goofy res dog was hot on his tail, which I was, mouth open, tongue hanging out. I tell you, it was epic. And I was gaining on him when that moving truck came barreling around the corner. Tibbles scrabbled up the nearest tree, while I nearly got hit by the truck. Squealing tires, the driver yelling out the window, and some fast footwork by yours truly, and I was in the clear. I managed to duck out of the way of that looming front bumper just in time and then sprinted towards home, taking a shortcut across Mrs. McGuire's yard. So, yeah, I chased the cat, but I did not, repeat, I did not dig up old man Melnick's rose bush. After years of Melnick blasting me with his garden hose whenever I came near his fence, I got the message loud and clear. Stay the heck away from his place. The guy is clearly not a dog lover. But because I was seen running around on the loose, I got blamed for digging up his roses. And because I'm a dog, I can't defend myself. So somewhere out there in this townhouse complex is another dog devious enough to go into old man Melnick's yard and dig up his prize rosebush, and smart enough to get me blamed for it. The name's Seamus. I'm a special kind of dog. I'm what's known as a res dog. It means I'm a mix of different dog breeds and I come from a reserve. As far as I know, I'm a mix of German Shepherd, Husky, and Border Collie. My family is what humans call indigenous or native, and we all come from the same reserve. A few years back, a whole block of the townhouse complex opened up to indigenous families who were living in the city for something called an urban indigenous housing project. So now, there are two lines of townhouses that face each other across the laneway, with us indigenous families living on one side and all the other people living on the other side. Mom calls them settlers, and some of them don't seem to like us native families. The only reason I can figure is just because we look different, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but hey, I'm just a dog. What would I know? Personally, I don't see what the big deal is. I judge someone on whether they're a dog person or not the color of their skin. Judging them for how they look seems pretty stupid to me. Take dogs. A dog can be red or black or brown or white or sometimes a combination of different colors. And underneath it all, we're pretty much the same, right? Just dogs. What really matters is, are you a friendly pooch or a snarling, nasty mutt, ready to growl and snap for no good reason? I figure it should be the same for humans. So I'm going to play a song about cat chasing. It's called I'm a Freewheelin', Fun-Lovin' Urban Res Dog on the Loose. And with this one, I've got a brass slide on my finger, and I play the guitar. This is why I have two guitars today. This one's in a different tuning. When I play it, I've got it so it automatically plays a chord. So I slide it up and down the neck, which is why it's called a slide. And it makes a kind of a cool sound. So this is the cat chasing song. I got the wind in my fur and my paws are a blur. Got a cat in my sights, it's one of life's delights. I'm hot on the tail of that annoying tabby. Let me tell ya, he doesn't look happy, 'cause I'm a freewheeling, fun-loving urban ranch down on the loose. I'm making a beeline right after that feline. I'll be sitting pretty once I get that kitty-o. He'll be mine, and life will be fine. Unless he finds a tree to climb, 'cause I'm a freewheeling, fun-loving urban ranch dog on the loose. Well, let me tell you, mister, I just missed by a whisker. Last time we chased, and that's no disgrace. That buddy was fast, and I was outclassed. This time I'll pour on the gas, 'cause I'm a freewheeling, fun-loving urban ranch dog on the loose. I'm out of the gate, I got the sun on my face, got a cat on his way, and I'm giving chase. He'll wanna call a truce, and I'm up on his caboose. I am one pooch who hates to lose, 'cause I'm a freewheeling, fun-loving urban ranch dog on the loose. Yeah, I'm a freewheeling, fun-loving urban ranch dog on the loose. Thank you. So Mom works at a jewelry store, and she's the only member of the staff. It's Rigby's Jewelry Store. She's the only member of staff who's not family. And jewelry starts to go missing from the store. And it looks like it's an inside job. And Mom is really worried that she's the main suspect because she's not family and because she's Indigenous. So the kids decide, with their friend Max and the help of Seamus, to investigate and solve the mystery of who is really stealing the jewelry. There's a new couple named Mitch and Dora, and they've moved into the townhouse complex. They're also opening a store right next to Rigby's Jewelry Store in the mall. And Mitch is a carpenter and has been doing some pretty suspicious renovations on the back of the closet, which connects to Rigby's Jewelry Store. So the kids are convinced they have to be involved somehow. Max's mom has started to work for them in the store. Before the grand opening of the store, the kids make an excuse to go visit so they can investigate and see if they can find some clues. So Cole has gone into the back room of the store, and Seamus is wandering around checking things out as Mitch talks about his tools with Cole. But Seamus gets into a bit of trouble. Cole began asking Mitch about all of his tools, which gave me an opportunity to nose around the storeroom for any stray treats. I ducked into the closet, and I gave it a good once-over. I began sniffing into the corner where I could make out something that smelled vaguely familiar. I stood up on my hind legs to get a better whiff. Jewelry. Just then, my collar got snagged on a cloth shopping bag that was hanging on a closet hook. I yanked my head back, trying to get loose. The bag fell off the hook and right over my face, completely covering my head. I panicked and knocked over a broom, which fell with a loud bang. That's when I really lost it. Yelping, I skittered backwards out of the closet, shaking my head frantically back and forth to try and get the bag off. In my mad scramble, I knocked over a stack of boxes behind me. I was really freaking out now. "Hey," yelled Mitch, "grab that stupid mutt." Cole rushed over and pulled the bag off my head, apologizing to Mitch. Rainey ran into the back room and hugged me. My heart was pounding and I was shaking. "Seamus," she said, "are you okay, boy?" She gave me a big hug and then she glared at Mitch. "He's not a stupid mutt. He happens to be a very smart dog." "Sorry, Mitch," mumbled Cole, handing Mitch the empty bag. "He can be a big, clumsy goofball." Mitch laughed, trying to sound friendly again. "Oh, that's okay, kids. I just don't want anyone to get hurt around these tools." Aura rushed in to see what was going on and looked with dismay at the knocked-over boxes. "I think it's best you stay out in the main part of the store, kids. The stock room isn't really for the public, especially with all these renovations going on." Rainey fumbled with my collar until she got a hold of my leash, and then she straightened up. "Sorry, Aura. Sorry, Mitch. Seamus usually is well-behaved. We should be going now anyway." She pulled on my leash and dragged me out of the back room. Cole and Aura followed behind her. "Oh, don't worry, kids," said Aura, trying to sound cheerful again. "Make sure you come to our grand opening, but hold on to Seamus's leash for that." We set off for home. We walked along in silence for a few minutes until we turned into the park next to the library. Cole sighed and said, "Well, that was a waste of time. I didn't see any clues, and Seamus got into trouble again. I sure hope they don't tell Mom about that. He's in enough trouble right now." "Oh, I don't know about that, Cole," said Rainey triumphantly. She stopped by a picnic table and held her hand out. "Look what Seamus found in the closet." There was a really shiny chain that smelled like jewelry and looked like a tiny leash. I couldn't see what it could possibly be used for, unless you wanted to, let's say, take a hamster for a walk. I was very confused. Cole used to have a hamster, but he never took it for walks, and frankly, I don't really think that would be a very good idea. I mean, hamsters are pretty tiny with very short little legs, and as for taking one for a walk, well, "Holy," yelled Cole. "Way to go, Seamus, good boy." I grinned happily and thumped my tail on the ground. I wasn't sure just what I'd done, but I was happy to take the praise, especially after that rather embarrassing incident with the bag. "It's a brand new gold chain," said Rainey. "I found it tangled on Seamus's collar when I pulled that stupid bag off his head. And check out the price tag on it. It's from Rigby's." "Wow, there's the proof we needed. Aura and Mitch have to be involved somehow in the thefts," said Cole excitedly. "Seamus, you're a genius." I sat smugly with my chest puffed out, grinning proudly at my kids. I wasn't quite sure how getting my head stuck in that bag and crashing into a bunch of boxes filled with smelly junk highlighted my natural-born genius, but I really couldn't argue with Cole. I am a pretty smart guy. Sometimes I'm so smart, even I don't see it. That must be the definition of pure genius. So I'm going to play. I'm going to play a song called "I Don't Have a Clue What a Clue Is." I just thought I was a regular pooch, always got my nose to the ground. Now they say I'm a natural sleuth, just because of some clues I have found. Only trouble is I don't have a clue what a clue is. No, I don't have a clue what a clue is. Now they say I'm a special guy. They say I'm real perceptive. Say I make a natural PI, I make a real good detective. The embarrassing truth is I don't have a clue what a clue is. No, I don't have a clue what a clue is. Really, I'm just your basic mutt who likes to dig through the trash. Always on the hunt for a crust, on the lookout for tasty scraps. So you'll have to excuse this, but I don't have a clue what a clue is. No, I don't have a clue what a clue is. Sure, I can find familiar aromas, I can pinpoint intriguing smells. The gun that have their own persona, yeah, that's where I excel. So you'll have to excuse this, I don't have a clue what a clue is. No, I don't have a clue what a clue is. No, I don't have a clue what a clue is. Thank you. So I have one more reading and one more song. Now, the kids have heard they've got new suspects. They have heard Mitch and Mortimer, or MT as he's sometimes known, who is Mr. Rigby's son. They've overheard them talking and planning a big heist for late one night at the jewelry store. So Rainey, Cole, Max, and Seamus follow them to the store late one night for a stakeout. Well, Seamus is thrilled because he loves a good steak. But the kids end up in trouble. Sure, they follow them into the store, but they get locked in the back of Aura's store, and the alarm system has been put on. And now they're trapped. But we're going to meet Edith Rigby, the niece of the jewelry store owner. So here's what happens. Quick, Max, do you know the alarm code? Demanded Rainey. Yeah, I think so. Mom told me. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. She was laughing about how simple it is, Max said doubtfully. But it's a sensor alarm. One movement and it goes off. Move fast. I'm pretty sure you have a couple of minutes before it comes on, so you can leave the store once it's all set. That's how they work, urged Rainey. Go now, Max. It's our only hope. Oh, man, wailed Max as he dashed to the alarm panel and began beeping buttons. I sure hope I have this right, you guys, he said. A little light flashed on red on the panel, and he gave a sigh of relief. Okay, I got it turned off, he said. We're okay. Rainey came out of the darkness grinning. I got a couple of great pictures. I can't believe I forgot to turn the sound off on my phone. That was close. That was really stupid, Rainey, said Cole. He sounded angry. Now we're locked in here, thanks to you. Well, thanks to me, we got some pictures of Mitch and MT robbing the jewelry store, yelled Rainey. It's not my fault you guys came in too. What does that even matter, Cole yelled back. Even if we waited outside, we'd still be locked in. What do we do now? What's your big plan now, huh, Rainey? Say, why don't we call up Aura and say, oh, hi, we're just locked in your store? How's that going to help prove Mom is innocent? I whimpered. I hate it when the kids fight. It's not very often since they get along so well usually. And shh, hissed Max. I hear a car. Maybe they're coming back for something else. We all rushed to the window and peered out. Another car was pulling into the alley and parking. It was a beige sedan, not Mitch's SUV. The driver's door opened and a woman got out. She too was all dressed in black. She looked around and we could see her clearly in the pale light. Look, it's Edith, whispered Rainey. She must have known about the big heist too, but she doesn't know that she's too late. Mitch and MT already got away. We all watched out the window as she walked quickly to the jewelry store and unlocked the back door. I could hear some faint beeping noises. Clearly, Rigby's had one of those alarm things, too. We waited quietly in the darkness. What should we do now? Asked Max. Let me think a minute, whispered Rainey. We began to hear muffled thumping in the closet, this time from Rigby's side of the wall. We all crept close to try to figure out what was happening. Let's thump on the wall and yell for help, said Cole. We can take it apart like Mitch did and get out through the jewelry store. Good idea, said Rainey. We can tell her that she's too late and get her to call the police. Maybe they can still catch them. Cole rummaged in Mitch's tool bag and pulled out his hammer. He made his way to the closet and started banging on the wall. Rainey joined him and yelled, Help, Edith, help us, we're trapped. I don't know about this, guys, said Max. I could tell how scared he was, so I gave his hand a quick lick. We could all be in big trouble when we're caught in here. Well, how do you expect to get out unless someone helps us, demanded Rainey. Cole pulled the shelves out and then began to pry the wall boards off the back of the closet. I stood behind him, wagging my tail eagerly. Maybe this was where that stake was. When the boards finally came away, we could see Edith standing in front of the closet with a shocked look on her face. What are you kids doing in here? She demanded. Quick, Mitch and MT already robbed the jewelry store. They just left and they got away with everything. They had a big bag full of stuff. We have to call the police. Maybe it's not too late to catch them, said Rainey urgently. We followed them tonight to catch them in the act. We snuck in after them and took pictures of them, but we got locked in the store when they left, said Cole. She relaxed and smiled at us, saying, Wow, you kids are really brave. I'll call the police and report this right away. I sat down and eagerly thumped my tail. Maybe after that, she'd get me that steak. I was getting hungry, and I could use a good steak right about now. She pulled out her cell phone and punched in some numbers. She listened, waiting, and then said into the phone, This is Edith Rigby. I'm at Rigby's Jewelers, and there's been another theft. Wait, said Cole. You need to tell them it was Mitch and Mortimer. Don't move or get any big ideas, Edith glowered at us. The police are on their way now. We'll get this straightened out. But they're getting away, protested Rainey. I'm going to call the police back and tell them to look for Mitch's car. She started to dial on her cell phone, but Edith reached out and snatched it from her hands. Hey, yelled Rainey, give me back my phone. I started barking at Edith. I was getting annoyed with her. "You can't do that," yelled Cole as he grabbed me by the collar and held me back. "Take it easy, Seamus," he said. "It's okay, boy." But I was mad. First, there was no steak, and then this woman just snatched Rainie's cell phone from her hand. Even I know that's rude. In the distance, I could hear the siren. "Good," said Rainie. "Here come the police. Then you'll get the truth." "You have to believe us," said Cole. "Oh, man, we're in big trouble," moaned Max. "Why did I let myself get talked into this?" Edith smiled grimly at us. "Don't worry, kids. We'll get to the bottom of this. Sounds like the police are here now." Stumbling over a box of records on the closet floor, we all climbed through to the jewelry store and waited in the darkness until Edith flicked on the lights. We all stood blinking, getting used to the bright lights as she strode over to the back of the door and wrenched it open. "Help! Police! The thieves are in here!" she yelled. "I caught them right in the act." The kids gasped. I sat down with a thump and whimpered. I wasn't quite sure what we had done wrong, but it sounded like we were all really bad dogs, and I was already in enough trouble with old man Melnick. So I'm going to finish with a song called Bad Dog Blues. And I think I'll move my guitar stand down so you can see the slide on the guitar. I'm just a bad dog with a bad dog blues. Just a bad dog with a bad dog blues. Just a bad dog I was born to lose. Can't fight the sweet smell of garbage calling me. Can't fight the joy of busting out and running free. Now see you can't, just gotta give chase. Strike muddy paws all over the place. I'm a bad dog with a bad dog blues. I'm a bad dog with a bad dog blues. Just a bad dog I was born to lose. Can't stop a dog from scratching at a flea. Can't fight the bumbling of a bumbling bumblebee. Can't stop a birdie from sleeping in his nest. You can't stop a dog from doing what he does best. I'm a bad dog with a bad dog blues. I'm a bad dog with a bad dog blues. I'm a bad dog I was born to lose. Yeah, I'm a bad dog I was born to lose. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Leslie. That was a wonderful presentation.
Anna Humphrey is an awesome author. She has written lots of books for kids, lots of which you probably know. Megabat, Bee and Flea, and Clara Humble are some of the series, and the new series that she's putting out is Fluffle Bunnies. So we're gonna hear all about Fluffle Bunnies today. It's a hilarious book. You're gonna love it. She's gonna read some of it to us later. But for now, we're gonna hear some more from Anna. Let's give her a round of applause.
Hello! I'm so excited to be here with you guys at Funny Pages. How is everyone doing today? Tired? Okay, I want you to get a little bit more specific with me. We're going to do an 8-bunny check-in, find out how you are really doing today. So when you see the bunny come up that feels like you're feeling, raise your hand for me. You can also feel more than one way and have more than one bunny. Have I got any excited bunnies here? Because you're here and not at school doing math homework. Yeah! I got any anxious or shy bunnies who are like, who is this lady and is she gonna make me participate? Any of those? I'm one of those. I'm not gonna make you participate, I promise. Okay, do I have any hungry bunnies? Did you just eat lunch? Literally just ate lunch. How about clumsy bunnies? Anyone like trip over their own feet getting here? A bunch of you. Do I have any snuggle bunnies? A bunch. How about sleepy bunnies? Yeah. How about angry bunnies? And finally, any fancy bunnies? I have my gold shoes on today. I'm such a fancy bunny. All right. So, as Heather mentioned, I am Anna. And I am the author of some books you might know, which are called Megabat. It's a series about a funny little talking fruit bat and his best friend Daniel. There's 6 books in that series. So you might enjoy those if you're into bats. Personally, I'm into all kinds of little animals, bats and cats and bunny rabbits. Once a week, I go and volunteer at a cat shelter. And this is a picture of me in a pile of kittens. It's the best day of my week, as you can imagine. And I'm making that face, though, because kittens might look soft and cuddly, but they are extremely sharp. Take it from me. I still tie my shoelaces the bunny ears way. I don't know if anyone wants to teach me the other way, but you're welcome to try. And I came here all the way from Kitchener, Ontario, to see you guys today. It was a long trip, but I'm so happy to see your faces. So happy to be here. I want to tell you a little bit about how I became a fiction writer, because it goes way, way, way back to when I was younger than even some of you guys. So in this picture, I'm about 6 years old. I didn't know how to read yet, but I was playing library with my dolls, because I've always loved books and stories. I've also always been kind of a shy and quiet person. You can probably tell that about me still. When I was in grade 2, I got even shyer and quieter. My family was going through a really rough time. My parents were getting divorced, and my sister and I got sent to live in separate cities. So we were pretty sad time, and I got even quieter. In fact, I stopped talking at school pretty much altogether. Luckily, I had a very special teacher who noticed this. Her name was Mademoiselle Desmarais, and we were putting on the holiday play around that time. Does anyone do a holiday play at school? Have you been in one? Yeah, most of you. So I had never seen a script before. So when you do a play, it starts with just a big stack of papers. So in there you've got everything you need to put the story together. It's got the characters, it tells what the lighting is, it's got the songs, it talks about the costumes, and all of that comes together to make an amazing story on stage. When I saw that, I was really inspired. And not long after, I was in math class, and I had my math book propped open, and I was secretly writing a play behind my math book. Mademoiselle Desmarais caught me. But like I said, she was a really special teacher. She didn't get angry, but she said, put that away and maybe finish it later and show it to me. So that's what I did. And then she did one step better. She said, what if the whole class put on this play? So we got to do that. And I got to help pick out who would play which part, and we all made sets and brought in costumes. And that was the first time I saw how, as a really shy, quiet person, I could have a big, loud voice through writing. And I have never stopped writing since. All right, I'm going to talk to you today about a graphic novel series that I'm writing called Fluffle Bunnies. Does anyone here read graphic novels? Yeah, does anyone want to tell me what their favorite graphic novel series is, or graphic novel? Yeah, with the orange sweater? Tom Gates? I don't know that one. Yeah. Elemental, that's a good one. Yeah. Yep. Okay, Amulet. I was expecting a lot of Dogman. These are like ones I haven't heard of altogether. In the orange shirt? Dogman, obviously, yeah. Yeah? Dogman, Dogman, Dogman. I love Dogman too. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you hear the author talk today? Yeah, that one looks awesome. All right, so these graphic novels are a little bit like the Bad Guys series, if anyone's ever read that. All the illustrations are black and white, but it's the whole story is a graphic novel. But before I go on, I need to tell you about someone else, because I only do the writing part. I'm not very good at drawing pictures. So I work with this woman named Irma Knieveland, and she's the illustrator. She's pretty impressive. So she's worked with some pretty impressive companies like Marvel Comics, Globe and Mail, Reader's Digest. She wrote these two books, Machine Boy and Year of the Dog, that you can get out at the library or buy. And she lives all the way in Mexico, home of the Mexican cottontail rabbit. Now, sometimes I feel a little bit sad for Irma because she's all the way in Mexico and I'm here. So I get to come and hang out with kids like you and have a really good time. I wondered if you could do me a favor. If I could count to 3, and on the count of 3, you could all say, as loud as possible, "Hi, Irma." And we're gonna take a video from the back and send it to her because it's gonna make her day, because I know she wishes she could be here. The kids upstairs were really loud. I wonder if you can be louder. I also just kind of like shouting in the library because usually we're not allowed, right? Yeah. Okay, so you ready? Like be the loudest group yet? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Irma! Thank you. Okay, you are definitely the loudest group yet, and that's gonna make her day. Thank you. All right, where do you think writers get their ideas? Does anyone have a guess? Yeah, in the orange shirt. Sorry? Sorry, I couldn't hear you quite. Oh, your brains? Yeah, obviously, from your brains. Yeah. Imagination from your brain, too, yeah. Hi. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, usually that's how it works for me. I usually get my idea from some little thing that's happened somewhere along the line in my old life. So for Fluffle Bunnies, what happened is my son Elliot came home from school one day. I think he was in about grade 3. And he said, "Mom, do you want to see something secret?" And I was like, heck yeah, I want to see something secret. Who wouldn't? He said, "Okay, you got to wait 10 minutes. Okay, that's weird. It was the longest 10 minutes of my life waiting to see this something secret, but I was very patient. And when it was over, he took me across the street. Across the street from our house was his school. You could see it from our front window. And right at the base of the sign where the school bus stopped, there's like a loading zone sign. He moved aside a little bit of grass, and this is what he showed me. So you can see little ears and little eyes. A nest of baby bunnies was hidden right there where hundreds of kids a day were trampling through, and nobody had seen them except for my son and his friend. So do you guys notice anything missing from this picture? Yeah. Bunnies, well, there's bunnies. Do you notice anything else missing? Their mom. Yeah, that was my first thought too. I was like, oh no, here's these little baby bunnies and they're all alone in kind of a dangerous spot. So we went home and we looked it up online, like what we should do. And I learned a few things about rabbits and mother rabbits in particular. So it turns out mother rabbits are not exactly what you would call the nurturing types. So they take care of their babies, but they only really come to the nest at dawn and at dusk to feed them. The rest of the time, they're just kind of away doing their own bunny business, whatever they feel like doing. And actually, it's a really strategic move because they're avoiding attracting any predators to the nest. So it got me thinking a little bit differently about this nest of baby bunnies that at first looked so vulnerable. Maybe their mother had raised them to be really resilient and really independent. She'd hidden them in plain sight, which is kind of cunning when you think about it. And it made me wonder, maybe these bunnies were the kind of bunnies who were ready to take on the world. Maybe, in fact, they were the kind of bunnies who were ready to take over the world. All right, I'm going to tell you one more thing that inspired me to write this book. But first, there is a test, and this counts on your report card. I already asked your teachers. Yeah, okay, so pay attention, pay attention. Okay, if I have one sheep, it's called a sheep. If I have many sheep, what's it called? Yeah, in the white shirt? Sheeps, good guess, kind of. Yeah, a flock, you got it. A flock of sheep. Okay, how about fish? School, yeah. Okay, what about lions? Any guesses over here? Yep. A pride, you got it. Okay, it's gonna get a little bit harder now. These are hyenas. Hyenas, yeah. A pack, really good guess, but there's another word for it. Yeah, over here. Yeah. A herd, good guess, not a herd. This is kind of a strange one. In the pink shirt? A family, well, they are a family, but nope. One more guess? Yeah. A troop, another good guess. Okay, let's find out. A cackle of hyenas. I don't think we would have guessed it in 1,000,000 years. Okay, koalas. This is another tricky one. This test is getting harder. Yeah. Sorry? A troop? No. One more guess. Yeah. A pack? No. Okay, let's see. A cling of koalas. That's cute because they're all clinging together. Okay, another one. Rhinoceroses. Yeah. A herd? No. You know? A crash. A crash of rhinoceroses. Yeah, you got it. Okay. The most important one. Bunnies. Yeah, with the earphones on? A fluffle of bunnies. It's so cute, I could die. So that, it definitely inspired the title. A fluffle of bunnies. Okay. I'm going to read you my story in a minute, but first I want you guys to tell me a story. I don't want to do all the work here. This is called A Somebody Wanted But So Then story. Let's break it down. First step is somebody. We need a character. If we don't have a character, we don't have a story. Who has an idea for the name of a character in the red shirt? Yep. Momo? Blubbo. Blubbo. Labo. Labo. Globbo. Globbo. Okay, what is Globbo? Is Globbo a person, an animal? Yeah, with a kitten shirt. Globbo the rabbit. Okay, we're moving on. Wanted. Our character has to want something. If Globbo the rabbit has everything Globbo has ever wanted, the end, that's a really boring story. So what does Globbo want? Yep. Yep. Globbo wants the world's biggest carrot. That's a good goal. Okay. Oh no, something happens. Globbo cannot have the carrot. What happened to prevent Globbo from getting the carrot? Yep. Yep. Okay. Globbo got captured by a hawk and taken to a nest, so they can't get the carrot. Next. So they're going to try to solve the problem. How is Globbo going to try to solve that problem? Yeah, in the front row. Bob the Builder. comes to the nest and breaks him free. Okay, and then what happens? Does he get his carrot in the end? Yeah. Yes, and he gets his carrot. Okay. A happy ending. He gets his carrot. Okay, I want to tell you a little bit about my story now. Oh, sorry, I meant to say, that was a short story. If you want to make your story longer, here's what you do. You go, but so is also a funny word, just incidentally. So Globbo tries to get the carrot, but the hawk comes and gets him, so he escapes. But they crash into the lake, so he has to learn how to swim. On and on and on and on until you've reached the end of your story, and then ends your story. Okay. So here are my somebodies. This is the Fluffle, Biggie, Boingy, and Flop. Biggie is the biggest guy. He's a big cuddler. Boingy has a lot of energy. And Flop is kind of the mastermind. She's the smartest of the bunnies. They wanted to stay in their warm, safe nest. But, like I told you, mother rabbits are not the nurturing type. Their mother, when she's done raising them, decides that they're good to go, and she hops off to Brazil to become a jiu-jitsu master. So, hi-ya, off she goes. And now they have to go look for their own food. So, they have to make a decision. Do they want to be sweet little fluffy bunnies, or do they want to be not to messed with tough bunnies so they can take on all of these bad guys they meet in the park, which includes some squirrels, or some chipmunks, some dogs, and some raccoons. Then, sorry for the spoilers, but this is a series about bunnies taking over the world. So what happens is, book 1, they take over the park. Then, book 2, they're going to take over the whole city. They change the name to Bunville. Book 3, they're going to try to take over the entire world. All right. I'm going to read to you, but to do that, I need to take off my bunny ears and put on this cranky old man hat, because this story has a narrator, and the narrator is an old man moth. Does anyone know anything about moths? Who hasn't yet? In the white shirt up there? No? Yeah? Yep. Yeah, it's an insect. It's kind of like a butterfly, but not quite. Yeah, yeah. Nocturnal, they're kind of nocturnal. They're really, really attracted to light. So that's, and they can fly. So they're really attracted to light. They can fly, yeah? Seriously? Okay, I didn't even know that. Okay, I'm learning things today. One of the first bugs to have night vision. Cool. Okay, so another thing I wanted to tell you about moths is they follow the same kind of life cycle as a butterfly. So first they're an egg, then they become a caterpillar, then they go into a chrysalis, and then they hatch and become a moth. So over the course of the 3 books, Mo the Moth is in those different stages of being a moth. But in the end, he's looking back on it all as this old man moth. So we open on a park washroom, and every single one of the washrooms is broken, and there's Mo the Moth flying around. Ouch! Ow! For the love of, ouch! Can't you read the signs? If you've got a tinkle, go someplace else. Why are you still here? Stop gawking at my magnificent moon on a stick. Don't the grown-ups teach you whippersnappers manners these days? It's rude to stare. Ow! Oh, I see. It's the Fluffle bunnies you're here about. Well, you won't find them in that old nest. Yep, you're looking at a genuine historical hole, but Biggie, Boingy, and Flop have moved on to bigger, better things. Forget that hole. Forget this park. Forget the whole city. In fact, while you're at it, go ahead and forget the entire world. These days, those rascally ragamuffins run everything. Well, if you're going to keep lollygagging, put away your iPads and yell phones. Gather round my moon on a stick, young scallywags, and I'll tell you the tale. Of course, I was just a young egg at the time, clinging to the underside of a branch. I saw it all happen through a crack in my shell. Long ago, on a spring morning, a Fluffle That's what they call a pack of wild bunnies, in case they don't teach you anything in school, was born right there in that very hole. At first, they were meek little things, huddled in the safety of their nest, depending on their mother's milk. But soon enough, the big day arrived, as it does for all young rabbits. Well, kiddos, that's that. You're old enough to forage for food and fend for yourselves. Understand now, mother rabbits aren't what you'd call the nurturing types. Oh, they care for their wee furballs, but they don't coddle them. Not like people mothers, always fussing and fretting, making sure their youngins look both ways before they cross the street, washing their socks more than once a week. Calling all tough bunnies. Sharpen your mind, control your opponent, kick some bunny butt, become a jiu-jitsu master today in Brazil. Once her babies were weaned, well, Mama Fluffle had other things to attend to. Hi-ya! Here come the two evil chipmunks. Their names are Stu and Lou, and they only pretty much say things that rhyme with Stu and Lou. Hey, Stu? Yeah, Lou? Woo! Uh-oh, some ears come out. This is Flop. Hey, Biggie Boingy, wake up. Mama's moved on. We've got to go look for our own food now. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I love food. Yippee, Sky Snacks. Here comes Biggie. Yawn. Morning, Flop. Ready for a rise and shine snuggle? There's no time for cuddles. Didn't you hear what I just said? We need to go foraging. Maybe there's food under there. And so the young rabbits left the nest to explore the big wide world for the first time. But they were about to find out that life in the park wasn't all sunshine and four-leaf clovers. Nope, no food. Oh, but there's something big and soft and squishable. Biggie, no! And filled with puffiness and fluffiness. Biggie, stop! And cozy-wozy cuddliness. Oh, and wiggly jiggliness. Boink, bonk. And ferocious angriness and really, really bad breath. Grrr. Bark, 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 crash. Bark beasts are mean and nasty. Sky Snacks are sharp and spicy. Everything is way too scary. Back to the nest. Oh, good. Our nest is full of chubby chipmunks. I bet they'll give us huggles. Or maybe they'll want to play. They don't look like they want to cuddle or play, but if we ask nicely, I'm sure they'll give us back our nest. Excuse me, you seem to have taken our nest by mistake. Maybe you could give it back? You see, it's the only place we feel safe and warm. Hey, Stu? Yeah, Lou? Boo-hoo-hoo, so blue. I knew they'd understand. Pew, pew, pew. Come on, we'll be safe in there. Toodaloo. And I will stop there. Thank you for being such great listeners. So these are some other books that I've written too, in case you're interested. Remember I was telling you about how I volunteer at a cat shelter? So in the summertime, I have a book coming out that's all about that, about all kinds of cats finding their just right owners at a rescue cat cafe. And then there's the Megabat series, and Bee and Flea is kind of a series of science-y books about backyard science. Does anyone have any questions about being a writer, writing your own stories? Maybe you want to tell me about something that you're working on?
And I'm going to bring the microphone around.
Oh, good
Just
idea.
because there's so many people. So you let me know where to go.
Yeah, just up here in the black shirt.
What got you into making books?
Oh, what got me? Remember I was telling you that story about like writing a play and putting it on? I think it was that. It was because I'm really kind of shy, and it was a way that I could like have a big loud voice. Plus I've always really loved reading, and as soon as I could write, I just wanted to write. So I think that's why. I'll go over here.
For the young writers out there, what would you say to encourage them?
Oh, to encourage you as a writer, I would say the most important thing I've learned is to break any project you want to do down into like little itty bitty pieces so it's not so overwhelming. Like the idea of writing a whole book sounds so scary, but if you write even like 1 page a day, you could have like a book in less than a year. So just focus on like a little bit at a time, and you'll have a book before you know it. Over here.
What year did you start writing?
Oh, I think I started writing books in about 2006, around the time when my daughter was born, and now she's 18, so it's been a long time. Forgetting I have to choose. Over here.
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book for kids is by Gordon Corman. Has anyone ever read Gordon Corman books? He's a Canadian author. He started writing books when he was like 12 years old, publishing books when he was that young. He probably has hundreds by now. My favorite of his books is called I Want to Go Home. It's about a kid who goes to summer camp, and he hates summer camp so much. There's all these funny letters that they write home to their parents. That's probably my favorite kids' book. Thank you for your question.
Oh, this question was already asked.
Oh.
Do you like all books?
Like all books of all ever? Yeah. I like some books more than other books. Like sometimes, don't tell anyone I said this, sometimes books can be boring, but other books are really interesting. I guess it all depends what you're interested in and what you like. Oops, where's Heather?
I'm going to come over this way.
What got you into the Bee and Flea books?
The Bee and Flea books? Okay, this is disgusting. Brace yourselves. I found out that there are little itty bitty tiny microscopic bugs that live in our eyelashes, like everyone's eyelashes. Don't pull your eyelashes out. It's okay. They're really helpful. They're eat like the extra oil and skin. Anyway, it got me like really interested in microscopic things, and that's what Bee and Flea do. They like see itty bitty creatures in compost heaps that help to break down the soil and that kind of thing. Oh, wait, everyone's rubbing at their eyes now. It's okay. They're cute. They're your friends. You're never alone.
Built-in friend.
Before you started writing, did you just like started writing like a bunch of pages instead of just writing a whole book?
Yeah, you can only write a book 1 page at a time, right? So yeah, I just started with like a little goal, like today I will write the part where Bee and Flea meet each other, and then tomorrow I will just write the part where they ride on a dog to the compost heap. So yeah, I just kind of like tricked myself into like writing a whole book that way. By just like, I'll just write a little bit, and then a little bit, and then a little bit. Yeah, good question.
How old are you?
How old am I? How old do you think I am? I don't know if I want to know the answer to that. 20, you're my new best friend. 32, you're also my good friend. I'm 46.
Okay, we're going to do one more question.
You guys are all my very favorites.
I actually started writing songs.
Did you start writing songs? Nice. Do you play like the guitar or anything with them? Or, no, you're just writing the melody? That's really great. Oh, I hope I hear them one day.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody, for your questions. Let's give Anna a big round of applause. Okay, and we have a bag of books to give away to one lucky school. Anna, I'll let you do the honors of pulling a name out of this bag. A little piece of paper gets it, but not a school. Let's see. Okay. East Coast Varsity. Okay. So if one student representative, just one. Okay, and you go bring this back up to one of the chaperones or teachers. Okay, thanks everybody for coming. I hope you had a great time at Funny Pages. You can turn to your teachers and your teachers will direct you from here. Thank you everybody, have a good day.